The listing package is the longest document in our set, and for good reason. All the items required that are necessary for initiating a complete short sale package are outlined here and are included here. The second page of the package is a table of contents which outlines all the items included, including some items that are included here just for a reminder as how some of the elements of the process work. This is the process overview of how we work with the short sale listing agent. And again, a slide describing how our fee works, which is described in more detail in the marketing video, but once again, the fee being 1% of the existing debt and structured as either a settlement or closing cost, which shows up on the seller side of the HUD, or a buyer's closing cost when the seller side fee is rejected, which is then typically covered, offset by a buyer's closing cost concession. So in both those cases, the bank typically pays. And there's an example illustrating that on the bottom of this page. And then finally, the fee as a legal fee. The fifth page in the package is the How to Get Started form, once again, just included here as a reminder of how to proceed through the process. And the sixth page is probably the most important page in the set because it outlines all the elements that are required, including the service agreement, the authorization to release information, the short sale information form included here, the income and expense worksheet, as well as the hardship form. There's also a 4506T EZ form included here, which most banks are requiring now, so they can verify that the taxes submitted to them are consistent with those submitted to the federal government. This form also outlines the documents that the seller is required to collect from their own personal records in order to submit the file, which are 2 years of W-2s and the last 2 years of federal income tax returns, and this means all pages of those documents, and also imperative is that they're signed and dated. If they're not signed and dated, the bank will reject and ask for them to be signed and dated. The eighth item is the last 2 months of bank statements, and the ninth, the last 2 months of pay stubs. For the self-employed, a signed profit and loss statement including 6 months, and bank statements from the business supporting that are required. The most recent mortgage statement, and if not available, contact information so we can procure that. The most recent utility or water bill, the listing agent from, obviously, you, the listing agent, the client interview form, which is included here, and lastly, the Bank of America form for initiating the process through Equator. And this is only required for sellers that have Bank of America loans. So the agreement here, as described, needs to be fully completed, initialed where there's lines, and signed. The authorization to release information needs to be fully completed, except for those lines in the body of the paragraph, which we will enter. The short sale information form, the income and expense worksheet, the hardship form. It's best to have this handwritten, although it's possible to type it in to the form included here. Here's a sample hardship letter, the key here being that the seller needs to ask explicitly for a short sale from their lender. And the 4506T EZ form, again, to request the federal tax documents. The client interview form, which typically you, the listing agent, would fill out through asking these questions to the seller or have them fill out directly. And lastly, the Bank of America information and process form. One thing of note here, the seller has to call in to the number included and set up an account in order for the file to be opened effectively with Bank of America. The instructions are included here as to how to do that. They set up their username as an email with @trailmymail.com as the domain, and the password being Levitt. And again, the security question that they should choose is the name of their dog, which they should answer as Spot.